All right, welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We are going to be talking about media freedom during the virtual campaigns. Can media freedom be sustained during such a time at the height of the pandemic when the government and the Electoral Commission have resorted to virtual campaigns? How will that be handled? Police is also set to deploy a new violence suppression unit to quell crowds outside media houses. Police is also asking media houses to share information about the guests and the duration of their talk shows during curfew hours, among other things, to avoid them being inconvenienced by security agents during these curfew hours. So we are asking, all this, is it a measure to gag media freedom? That's the $64,000 question that is going to be answered by Robert Sampala, is the Executive Director of the Human Rights Network for Journalists right here in Uganda. But before we do that, let's interest you with this short video that will actually offer a precursor into this conversation.
Police has been involved in running battles with supporters of politicians outside media houses. According to police, politicians deliberately mobilize crowds to follow them as they attend radio talk shows. Police spokesperson Fred Enanga says they are set to deploy the violence suppression unit to prevent such gatherings.
We've come up with a number of violence suppression units that we have deployed, such that these people who tend to be mass mobilized to come to radios and televisions when politicians are there are countered.
NRM candidates are going around undisturbed with their campaigns. They've gone ahead to stage rallies and meetings, but whenever our people come together, they are attacked by the police.
With some media houses hosting guests beyond curfew, police suggests that the management of media houses harmonizes its programs with the police.
Because you're essential people in the media, you're allowed to get to find your way home. What about these other people who leave the stations very late? What is the guarantee that you're offering them? So you need to work with the police.
So there's every suspicion, plausible suspicion, that the police would want to use this as a continuation of a targeting of the opposition like they've done in the past. TV stations, if they want to host people past curfew hours, can provide transport for them because they're allowed to drive after hours. And they can make internal processes for the transportation of their guests without necessarily having to inform police.
Uganda has been accused of increased censorship of the press. Ali Mivule, NTV.
Thank you, Ali Mivule, for that wonderful story that will be offering a precursor into this conversation. Can media freedom be sustained with all those variables in check? I do have Robert Sampala. He is the Uganda Human Rights Network for Journalists Executive Director right here in Uganda. And many thanks for joining us on Morning at NTV.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
But I'm sure you must be disturbed by the video we just showed right there. We are being asked to tell police whom we are going to be hosting after curfew hours, when we are going to be doing that. We are going to be having the violence suppression unit.
Yes.
Do you think all that is being put in place to maintain security or to gag media freedom?
From the onset, you can see the ugly face of gagging the media because, look, people need to appreciate how the media works. Sometimes you do not know your guests until the last minute. They have not confirmed till the last minute. Sometimes you have to bump into, you have to bump into panelists to come and say, this has happened, just happened, please come over. But we also have a very ugly history of the police not responding to correspondences from different sectors, from different personalities, waiting till the last minute for them to say we do not clear this person. So you only want to see direct security interference with the media work. You give with one hand and take away with another. When you say the media is an essential service provider, you certainly must understand how the media works, that it works with different personalities. So those people that work with the media, in order for it to execute its full mandate, must equally be treated as supportive to the media. So you do not arrest my people and then you think the media is free to work. Certainly what you're saying essentially is that the media is not free to host people in the night, and so it should close. That is essentially what you're saying. And what should be, for me, what should be the case here is to maybe ask a media house, if you are hosting somebody, maybe give them a note that this person is from our show and they're going home. And once they present that before the security in the night, that's enough clearance for them to move from the studios to their homes. But we are likely now to see ugly scenes of where somebody is coming out of the studios, and then you see the police are breaking off all the connections to the studios just to arrest somebody because they have worked with a media house till late. And there are not so many people that are always in the studios every day. So the police should not be, in a panic situation that 2-3 people are moving from NTV and are going to their homes, unless this is a cover-up to scare media houses from hosting personalities in the night. And we certainly have seen selective application of the law, and we only think that this targets especially politicians with dissent, because certainly those in government will keep moving even without these allowances. And this also points to a situation where the RPC, Regional Police Commander, is the person in contact for this permission or clearance. But for me, I want to call it permission by the police for people to appear in the shows. If, for instance, another this is not available, sometimes they take forever to respond. My guest has already confirmed, and they come into the studios. What is going to happen? You're going to see now the media getting scared of doing night shows. Yet the media works 24/7. So for me, it's not well crafted, it's not well thought out. It is just a measure to gag the media more, and certainly its repercussions on the media are very fatal.
And do you see a major problem culminating out of this, since the campaigns that we're going to be dealing with are going to be virtual, based on the media?
Yeah, we initially gave our opinions that in the current position of the media, it is not able to drive that mandate or that tall order of saying we are the only campaign platform, because you're talking of a media that is increasingly getting scared, intimidated. The journalists are getting beaten. The taxes are strangling the media houses. So in here, you introduce now other measures that are going to increase fear into the media houses. And to this, trust me not, you're going to see many media houses shunning such shows. Some are going to even scrap them away, because if you hosting people to be arrested after the show, why are you even hosting the shows again? So for me, I do not see measures being put in place that are going to contend with a new normal of the media being the campaign platform. I do not see this thing of political tolerance, where you're going to say, okay, if the media is hosting Robert with dissenting views, in another day maybe they're going to host somebody who's going to be pro. That is how the media must work. A marketplace of ideas. You do not introduce regulations or directives that are geared towards closing the space and creating fear. Certainly you're killing the industry itself.
And there have also been some very, very disturbing double standards in the way media guests are allowed to proceed. The whole NRM opposition, what do you say about that, the double standard? Yeah,
I used to like one of the colleagues is NRM, Mr. Mike Mokula, flight captain. He used to say selective application of the law is persecution. Whenever you think these cannot be touched and these are going to be touched, you practically are persecuting the other side.
But if you ask him now, he will tell you different. He would say,
I don't know if he has changed now. That time, actually, he was aspiring to become the president of Uganda, and he used to really be very critical.
He was idealistic at the time.
But now maybe he has learned how
gone back home
to behave very well. But in a nutshell, if you introduce, because we have seen during this COVID time, people convening crowds, addressing them, and they're not being tear gassed, they're not being arrested.
From the NRM side.
From the NRM side. And then you see this one who says, I will give food to my people, a bit in here, they know how we work, and then these ones are acrobat to near death. So this also must stop. If we are talking of a democracy that is going to thrive, that is going to be a vehicle for all opinions and shades of opinions to flourish, you certainly must learn how to accommodate, how to live with all opinions. What we are seeing now is only accommodating those that praise and want people to say, please go forward, go ahead, this and that. And for us in the media, that is not part of us. Ours is to host all sides or shades of opinions and put them out to the public. Like people will choose what they want to buy best. Like you go to a market, everybody has the same product, and it's up to you to choose. But in here, they want you to say, I'm hosting so-and-so for this period of time. So the police will say, we are still working on that. Certainly it means you can't host me. You can't host them. You can't host anyone that the police has not cleared. So the police is in here reintroducing itself to give permission, which the court said was a nullity for police to assume that role. It is not its role. It must even not be seen to practice it. And now they're saying we need to clear this person. This person doesn't need their clearance to move in the night. There are people who will certainly move. I have, for instance, seen people move from the studios to their homes, and they are not interrupted. They stop at a security check. They say, I'm from NTV, and they know the show is in there. It ends at midnight, and they say, okay, safe journey. That is how things should move, other than you wanting to now control every inch of what the media does.
And of course, with all these provisions that have been put in place by the security apparatus, do you see any correlation with how police has been treating opposition-leaning media guests recently?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've seen their fans being tear gassed just within the precincts of the media house. It has an effect on the media house itself. It has an effect on the communities that are hosting or surrounding the media house, and it also has an effect on the personnel that is being hosted. Next time you invite them, they will say, no, I was tear gassed just after your show. And the police must also understand that this is a political era. Yeah, we are into the thick of politics, and campaigns are now blossoming. So you do not tear gas people for expressing support for their candidate. Then you are so ruthless, and the force that is used to quell this crowd is unproportionate. Certainly, what you're doing is showing to the world that you have no space, you have no courtesy to even allow this person be greeted by the fans, and this should also stop. Because if it doesn't, certainly these people are going to equally become violent, and that's where you're going to see people pelting stones at the police, and the police is responding with bullets, live bullets. So people are losing lives, and all that is supposed to be normal? No, it is not normal at all.
Does this add or subtract from your concerns as raised in the recently released Media Index report?
It really does a lot. And we were asking the police to put in place standard operating procedures.
Yes.
Let us know that these are the guidelines that we are going to follow. And they must be consultative in nature. Talk to us, let us talk to you, let you listen to us and see exactly what can be entertained. Once we work together to put in place these procedures, all of us will be bound by them. All of us will be tasked to implement them to the dot, as opposed to saying the media must not do this, the studios must do this, they write to us about this, and you only are on the supply side, and us are supposed to be on the receiving side. That's not how democracy flourishes. If we are two partners in this, we must be seen to sit together and come up with an agreeable position. And we will be equally liable if we digress from what we have agreed upon. As opposed to saying, now we want the media to do this. What expertise does the police have over media? How much do they know?
Where is UCC?
Where are the bodies that are supposed to nurture the media to grow? Where is their involvement? They're the ones supposed to be telling us this, not Mr. Nanga, for God's sake. What does he know about media, for instance? He's a security expert. We appreciate that. But if you must bring out pronouncements that have an effect on the media, it should be coming from within the circles that are mandated to regulate or control. No, I don't believe in control. Regulate or nurture the media to grow, not the police headquarters, for heaven's sake.
Do you envisage a situation where violence is meted out on guests, number one, even the presenters themselves, the journalists? I
can't imagine a situation of knowing that after the studios here, I'm going to be arrested. I'm going to be tear gassed. I can't imagine the fear, the terror it brings to me. And my ability to articulate my issues in the studio certainly is going to be worked down, because I know I'm going in for a rough ride after the studios. And that should not be seen to be supported by anyone, including those in power, because you don't know where you're going to be tomorrow. And if we must be talking of a spread out democracy in the country, people must enjoy this fundamental inherent right of expression. You know, there must be freedom of speech, and after speech, that's what it entails. But not like, I mean, you used to say that you could guarantee Ugandans freedom of speech, but not after speech. So you, in yourself, you say, why must I even enjoy this freedom if after exercising it, I'm going to suffer the consequences? This is exactly what is going to be happening if the police is going to parade the ugly faces of suppression outside of studios, what is it going to mean to the wananchi? Who is going to even listen to me and think that what I am saying is not out of fear? Or I'm trying to impress the people outside to say, okay, it's been nice today, let that crowd go away that is supposed to suppress people. And what is the violence that you're going to suppress? Unless you want to create in your mind that Ugandans are violent and that you don't know how to control themselves. But to the best of my knowledge, Ugandans are very peaceful people. You don't need to line up suppression forces for violence. It's going to be wasted resources. That's why you will have bulging expenditure for the security, and money is only used to gag, to disperse small crowds around the villages that come to see their person. Many people have not seen the president. They'll come to around the station if he's speaking to shake hands with him after the show. Maybe some are looking for some envelopes. They have problems that the president can quickly address. So you're going to also disperse all these people, just like you're going to disperse Besigye's or Bobby Wine's or Tumukunde's. I think this is not, for me, well-intentioned. It is very ill-intentioned.
All right, in 2015, we noticed that police was acting in a partisan way during the campaigns, the violence that was meted out on opposition strongmen. And we are seeing the same that is happening now. Do you get the feeling that we are still dealing with the same partisan police force, given the fact that most of the dealings of the police back in the day, the bad dealings, were being subjected to Kaihura? They were saying, no, that is the former IGP Kaihura who is doing all that. But now Kaihura is out of the picture. We are still seeing police acting the same way. Do you get that feeling that we are still dealing with the partisan police force?
May the late Shirumira Muhammad rest in peace.
Indeed.
He really said that part of the police had to go away. And he made from the top to the middle line. They had to go away and maybe retain other guys. Yes, the top left, but some guys stayed in there. And you see them manning security points and giving orders that are sometimes overly ruthless. We are dealing with certainly most times partisan police. We have seen it all many cases where you fire tear gas, you fire live bullets into a crowd that is even trying to run away already. So for me, that is very unprofessional. But I think it is also masterminded by the fact that some security leaders, or especially the police, have taken political lines. You will see it. These guys guarding a person from within the ruling party who is committing a crime by, say, addressing a crowd under this lockdown and the COVID pandemic. And they are doing the security nicing of the police. You go on and end at this point, nothing happens. Then this other person from the opposition comes in to say, I'm greeting my people in here, and then they are arrested. And you saw what happened to an honorable member of parliament, beaten to near death, because he said, I'm going to give my food to my people. Our people are equally doing the same. So until we learn how to accommodate different ideas and views from all shades of life, the police will always act in a very partisan way. And the danger in this is that people become equally violent because they want now to push back the violence meted onto them by the very police that are supposed to protect them. And at the end of the day, we have everything to lose.
If all these proposals are being partisan, what should police be doing ideally to ensure media freedom in Uganda? That's our last question.
Yeah, police normally talks of the Professional Standards Unit, PSU, and is supposed to enforce discipline, to ensure that the police guys are professional. But I've not seen them sternly come out to take punitive action against those that act in a very partisan way, those that act unprofessionally. We should be having a list. And I was telling Afande Cornelius during the launch of our Press Freedom Index report at Grand Pilio that let justice be seen to be done. If you are taking action against some errant officers, show us the list. At the end of the day, give us accountability, because this is a civil police that is supposed to be accountable to the public. If you only say we took action against some of our officers that were errant, then you're speaking to yourself and you're already converted. So the people that need to see this justice being done are the community members, show to them. So we think that the PSU should work better, should work more, should be seen to really act against these officers, and that will only serve to instill a bit of fear, such that the officers act with self-restraint. Otherwise, as it is now, they know nothing will happen to them, and they'll go on to be as violent, as unprofessional, and as partisan as they so wish.
And even the issue of transporting these guests, we can do it with our own media vans.
Oh, talk about it going forward.
destinations.
Just tell media houses that after the show, make sure your guest is delivered to their homes and organized.
All right.
But don't be sure that all media houses have the capacity. I've seen, for instance, talk show hosts in different media houses that walk to their homes in the night, so they equally cannot afford the luxury of delivering a guest to their homes. For me, what I really see that should be done is to sit with media houses, not just slap bans on them like this nature. Sit with them and ask them what is workable. I know media houses will say, I'll write something, stamp on it, and say, this is my guest.
All right. Robert Sampala, the Executive Director of the Uganda Human Rights Network for Journalists. Many thanks for having made the time to speak to us. You've put a lot into perspective. Many thanks.
Thank you so much, and I was happy to be here.
All right. The show is Morning at NTV. We are now crossing over for another situational analysis on our streets with our reporter, Stephen Mbide. Mr. Mbide, very good morning once again. Please.